In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. A champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am one of your hosts, Sean Donnelly, joined here by my co-host, the Misfits-loving Andy Fiore, ladies and gentlemen.
That's me, all right.
Yeah, but that's a cool shirt.
I love this shirt. Thank you very much.
Misfits, for those of you who can't see the shirt because you're not sitting with us here, he has a shirt on that says the Misfits Fiend Club.
It's a play on words, Johnny.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know. Do people know the Misfits? Also, so we can talk about it. We'll talk about your shirt in 1 second.
Okie doke.
Joining us, very special guest, super funny dude. Opens up for Nick Swartzen. You see him all over the country. Justin Smith, everybody.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Just. And Justin's a defender, too. You always...
Oh, no, 100%. It's
I love
so
that.
I can't tell you how many times, like, this podcast is like sports radio for me. Where literally, like, I'll be listening to it, and I'll be like, you missed this scene? You goddamn like, dude, I was ready to...
I'm sure we're that for a lot of people.
We miss a lot.
I mean, I was screaming it when Renan Hirschberg was here defending the old Batman, and I was like, you fucking forgot the scene where he electrocutes the guy, and he has a whole conversation with a dead body. People won't even remember, people don't even remember, like, but he completely missed that, and I was driving to, I don't even know where I was 10 hours into a road trip, and I was just fucking white knuckling it with the steering wheel. I was like, how can you do this? How can you fucking forget that one scene?
Joy Buzzer scene in the original Batman.
Yeah.
When he goes, you're a little bit hotter than the collar. And then he knocks his fried head off.
Enjoyment buzzer.
it's great.
Enjoyment buzzer.
But, I mean, going back to
The Simpsons? Yeah. Enjoyment buzzer.
I mean, going back to the Misfits thing, I think there's 2 or 3 bands like that you see the shirt before you ever hear the band.
Yes.
And
Cult following, definitely.
And then it's weird because you listen to the band, you're like, that doesn't feel like what the band should be like.
Oh, really?
It's like,
I think it does.
I think it's perfect. Yeah.
I mean, like, the Grateful Dead is another one, too, because you see, like, skulls and lightning bolts. You're like, man, this is going to be whole different.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. You know what's the king of them is? Kiss. Kiss. You look at Kiss, you're like, oh, this is pretty badass. And then you hear it, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I remember my
die-hard Kiss fans.
My older sister is 15 years older than me and had the Rolling Stones' The Tongue like hanging off her rearview mirror. Right. And I was just like, what is this weird sex thing? And then it was like, no, that's one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. But this is a second purchase of this T-shirt because the first one, ex-girlfriend wore it home one day and never got it back.
Really?
To the point where I was like, after we broke it up, I'd be like, you got to give me that T-shirt back. It's one of my favorites. And she was like, yeah, okay, I will.
Totally. It's gone. It's gone. It was gone.
Because that's how they get you, because they look so sexy, and it's like, that's my favorite T-shirt, and those breasts are great. Like, you're like, oh man, that's so hot right now. And then you see them leaving, you're just like,
just a hot look.
It's gone.
That's what people don't realize. That's what girls don't realize, I think, sometimes, is that lingerie is awesome, but you know what the hottest thing to me is? Sweatshirts and, like, scrubs. Like, scrubs.
Scrubs are sexy.
Scrubs are sexy. Sweatshirts I love. Like, a sweatshirt with, like, even a sweatshirt with, like, no pants on.
I was just going to amend that to a no-bottom sweatshirt.
Yeah, no bottom sweatshirt.
Sexy.
But a sweatshirt and scrubs, I would take that.
A few accessories without long. Yeah, nothing too sexy. Sometimes just socks will do it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, just socks, yeah.
We're just boiling it down. Sometimes it's just like a girl naked. Sometimes just like her to hang around and just walk around.
Welcome to Defend Your Fetish, Justin.
Thank you so much for doing this. We usually shoot the shit about movies we've seen. Do you have any from this week?
I watched Green Book this week. I finally caught up to it.
Oh, you did? We talked about it a couple times on the podcast about for the Oscars and stuff like that.
You mean Piano Remember the Titans? Is that what you mean?
Very surprised.
That's what I said.
That's funny.
That's funny. That's what I said. That's where he's getting it from. You're both funny. No, that's kind of what it is, though, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, 100%. I was surprised it won Best Picture. Now that I had seen it after the Oscars, and it wasn't my favorite of what I'd seen from the Best Picture nominees.
What was your impressions of it? Did you just
very very light. I thought it was going to be much heavier.
Right.
I really thought it was going to be much heavier. It's just paint by numbers. White guy drives a black guy. They are in reverse roles from what the norm normally is.
Yep.
They find, they become friends. One sticks up for another, and then it's all. I was just like
It's
very cookie cutter.
It's heavier. It's a little bit heavier. Remember the Titans.
Well, I think I almost got it figured out.
Maybe not even. Yeah.
Like I was thinking about, because I looked at all the other movies, and it's kind of like, those years in like it's kind of like a Heisman Trophy thing where. And this may not go over well with your audience, but it's almost like when you have a year where like a defensive end is there and a certain running back is there, and they pull votes away from each other because like somebody who would be kind of into this kind of movie voted for, so like Bohemian Rhapsody and A Star Is Born split votes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So like Black Panther and then Black Klansman.
But I don't think it was just that though. I think it was that it won because of what's going on now. I think they thought it was a safe thing to win because of what's happening now,
right?
With like the climate of the country. So
I like to start.
Here's a nice, decent movie that can win and kind of has a good message to it.
Right.
I like Star Is Born better. I like Bohemian Rhapsody better.
Well, here we go. Perfect segue. Because I. The reverse of what you just said. I saw an Oscar movie. You just mentioned it. I finally saw A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be lighter than it was.
Okay.
I never saw the original, so I didn't realize.
It's got many different forms.
But that ending, did you see it?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that was the ending of the freaking story.
I like a good sad ending.
Oh my God, it was sad.
Yeah.
And I think I realized I'm a really big Bradley Cooper fan.
I love him.
Watching it.
I love him.
Like I think he
can do funny, can do dramatic.
Yeah, he can. And I think I had my issues with it because I did like grizzled Bradley Cooper, but it's not him. So, but he did do a good. This is the thing, man.
You know who it was? It was Eddie Vedder. He hung out with Eddie Vedder for a week.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it
was.
Also, he kind of sounded like Sam Elliott. So when they have that conversation and it's the brother character when he's talking about "you stole my voice," I'm like, does he literally mean his voice in this movie? Because that's what he kind of. They sound like dueling Sam Elliott's at that point.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You stole my voice." It's like almost if you put that faster or like you bring the octave down on that, it's just Sling Blade, just straight Sling Blade. You stole my voice. No, you stole my voice. No, you stole my voice. He's like, you're like a pig in shit with my voice. You can't like you said, like folksy sayings and just
even just that
badass.
That scene, like I don't know that I've had a few moments where it's like you've had those kind of things where like one of the things like opening for Swartz and like when you walk out and you feel like that. It feels like a bigger moment than you can ever possibly imagine doing like a huge theater or whatever.
Right.
So like that moment, I felt like they captured that really well because like somebody that's done that before, and you both have done that similar things. Like you walk out and
Also, music. I know what you're saying. And I'm sure that was, but music is different. Like it's one of those things where I think music audiences, comedy audience, they can be compared on certain levels. But like, what do you mean they're trying to convey when she comes out for the first time?
Like the idea that you do this one, like I don't know, like you have like a moment where you feel like this is kind of like my shot almost.
Yeah.
Even though comedy, that's not how it works. But like you have this thing where it's like if there are people in the crowd that have sway in the it feels like a moment where you're like if this goes well, people are going to hear about it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that, but they get to that in Stars Born very quickly. Very quickly, they're like, "Hey, she's blah, 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 blah," and right away they just put her on.
They make her Lady Gaga right away.
Yeah,
and that's why I was like, "Are you kidding me? Best actress? I know she didn't win, but like the actress moments they let her give was so." Reactionary 101, like, and so I was just like, come on.
But considering she's not an actress.
Yeah, but, I mean, don't dilute the award because of who she is.
No, you're right. But we just said Green Book won, so it's like they're not playing with...
They're really starting to go downhill.
Yeah. But when it comes
really
to this
just
movie,
kowtowing.
It's good, but there's little things like the one I just said about the moment. Also, like, when he comes over and punches the brother in the face... It wasn't a gasping moment for me. Like I didn't care enough about that. Like I don't think I even caught on when they go to the ranch. I don't think I got the fact that it was a wind farm. Like I think I saw it, but I was like, oh, it's just a wind farm. I think I wasn't paying attention and I was on a plane too, whatever. But I watched on a plane, so that affects it too. But
you're like this wind sound is great.
But basically. I think it was good overall, but I don't think it was Best Picture.
Oh, really?
You think it was the best one?
Out of what I saw, I didn't see it
Actually,
all.
definitely better than the Green Book.
It was better than Green Book. I would put Bohemian Rhapsody behind it. I didn't see The Favorite. I hated Black Klansman. I didn't think Black Panther was a Best Picture.
I'll tell you right now. You know what?
I can't remember the others.
Want to know what was great about Andrew Dice Clay?
It wasn't a great year.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Great.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Great.
Yeah.
This guy, why isn't this guy just in tons of fucking movies?
Really good.
Why also he still plays the dice thing?
Because until
Just
Forrest
drop
Whitaker
it.
dies, we can only have one weird-eyed guy at a time.
No, but you know what I'm saying? When it
Yeah.
comes to a movie, and now look,
He was great.
He was great, but he's great in Blue
Lagoon.
Blue Jasmine.
What a different movie that was. Him and Brooke Shields. I'm over here now.
Little Miss Muffet. Saturday time. We gotta get some firewood. just Dyson. He's such a good actor. They just put him. They just revamp all the famous movies.
She's back in the lagoon over here.
Yeah, they put him in. They put him in. Not Gone with the Wind. What's the other one? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a fuck. All right, he's dying.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
But it's really true though. Like, especially now that he's older, like he's kind of come into his own as like this really great actor. So I'm like, I think from that he'll be in a bunch more stuff. But he still plays. Like, if you watch. Did you watch the Dice Show? Is actually really funny with Natasha Leggero.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's tongue-in-cheek.
I never did. Yeah.
Like, he knows it's kind of... That's what's weird about it. From what I understand, he thinks he is a big deal still to this day. But that show, he's in on the joke that it's like he's kind of passé.
Right.
So he knows. I think behind closed doors, this
Absolutely.
guy knows. Yeah, exactly. But that's what's so great about him. And that's why I don't know why he just doesn't do the acting thing. Because he could win an Oscar himself if he really...
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one thing that people don't really take into account is the fact that comics, especially people that really were comics like for a long period of time, comics understand dark more than most people ever will, because part of being a funny comic is being able to go to like really dark places and kind of pull the nose up. Like, that's part of what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, even I don't know if you guys saw Kevin Hart in The Upside, but he was. I mean, like,
Is he
it was
good in that?
surprisingly good.
With Bryan
I'll
Cranston.
give you that.
Yeah.
Is that come
Yeah.
out already?
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
How is it?
I don't think it
was it,
did great at the box office because it was.
Well, I
it
mean,
came and went.
It came and went.
Well, I don't know. It's still out there. I don't know. I remember
Maybe.
I saw it, and I remember seeing him in it, and I was very impressed.
I agree.
with him.
A lot of comedians
he's
are very
a
good
talented
actors.
guy. Yeah. Well, anyway, the other thing I want to talk about, and you haven't seen this yet. I just saw Captain Marvel.
Right.
And then you made a face when I came in. When we talked.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it last night. I think at 10:00 at Times Square. I don't know why I'm giving a plug for the theater. Like, like it's like it's an alibi.
The theaters are hurting. Give them it has an alibi. I was there. Yeah, like the Larry David thing with when the guy who got arrested for murder was in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's a real life thing.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
crazy
great
about it.
documentary.
Anyway, what are your thoughts about it? And here's the thing: if you have spoilers, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, fast forward the next few seconds of this podcast. But what is your thoughts?
I mean, it just felt like they had to justify the pager in the Avengers movie. Like, that's what I was sitting there the whole time. I was like, I'm doing this so that this bitch can come back and save the planet. Like, that's what that's what I felt like I was watching. It just felt so forced. It felt like everything about it was like there was nothing fun. Like, I'm not like a comic book guy, but I'll go and see the movies.
Same.
And there are times like when I watch when I watch Ant-Man.
Yeah.
The chemistry in Ant-Man, those characters, all those guys together, that makes the movie fun. So it's like, I'm cool. It's cool. I'm learning a new character.
Right.
I'm learning something that I'm not gonna go read 50 comic books. So you can just kind of it's kind of like a fun thing to. Black Panther is the same thing. I had no idea.
Same. Yeah, I
but
enjoyed
this
it.
one was just like, it was just like, oh my, there's nothing like.
So does it take place after Infinity War?
No, it takes place before it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
See,
it takes
that's where I get
place-
lost with all the timelines of the
It
Marvel
takes
universe.
Fury
too.
has two eyes.
Fury has two eyes. Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson has
That
two
does
eyes.
nothing for
And
me.
he usually has an eye patch. That's the character has. Yeah, you don't even know. But
Andy's over there paying attention
He's
to
seen like
detail.
3 of them.
I thought you were talking about my last name. I'm like, yeah, Fiore. You did spell it right. Everybody spells it F-I-R-E. It's F-I-R-I. Good, thanks, Just.
No, I think I see what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Justin. But I will say there's more to this. Like, spoilers here. The whole idea of like where the Tesseract came from, like the power source.
Right.
There's that. There's also, and this is a business thing. This isn't, you don't know this from watching it full, just straight on. They're setting up the next chapter of this whole thing.
Right.
So she's I don't know if, this is how I saw it. She's the Superman of that world.
Okay.
She's Superman, but she's a girl, and she's Captain Marvel. And she was a character in the books. There used to be a guy, and then something happened, and now it's a girl in the comic books, but from years ago. But she's, like, if you watch the end of Captain Marvel, she just destroys everybody. She just full-on has the biggest powers, and she looks badass.
She just turns into Phoenix from the X-Men.
I guess.
With that weird little mohawk or whatever.
Yeah, but it's cool looking.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but it's kind of... I feel like I was like
wrong. It's not charismatic.
I just feel like I was fighting my way through. It's like I was like, come on, something's gonna like. You ever just watch something and you're like, come on, like
That happens to me with a lot of these cartoon book movies.
You know what I felt like?
Movies.
I feel like I was watching a buddy of mine do like he's doing like his half hour, right, or his late night set, and the first joke like didn't hit, and you're like, come on, man, like you're rooting for him, like come on, get that applause break, come on, like bring. That's what it felt like the whole movie, that I was rooting for it to go, and it just never felt like.
I know what you mean, but in the same way, but it's so funny because Ant-Man is all charisma, jokes, great acting, great personalities, great chemistry, but that's all it is. This was a lot of big picture stuff, that like a lot of things that fit into the big picture of the Avengers world that you need to get the Avengers world to flip over to that next chapter. So it's like, but it didn't have any of like it had some tongue in cheek, like, but not what you wanted. I think you're right. It wasn't as like the second Ant-Man I thought was awesome.
Oh, it was great. It's so underrated.
It's super underrated.
And that cutscene at the end.
Ant-Man and Wasp.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's crazy too, because I guess he'll have a bigger part as well.
Right.
But when it comes to her whole reason for being is big picture. Like, that's the thing. I think and I don't know this, so this isn't a spoiler. I'm guessing, and from what I've heard I think she's the new Captain America. She's the new crux of the entire universe. So there's obviously going to be a whole new set of movies with some of the people, some of the old cast members gone, and some of the new ones like Black Panther and some of the old ones as well. And she's going to lead that stead to to save the universe again, or from some other bigger threat, whatever it is, or some build up to some big threat. So on that front, there's a big thing there. But you're right, it didn't have the same from a comedy standpoint, you're like, the punches weren't as hard. You're right. You're absolutely right. So,
did you enjoy it?
You didn't enjoy it at all?
I mean, like, it was okay. I mean, like, if I had paid $20 for it, I'd have been upset. But I got the stubs, or the A-list.
I do A-list as well. Yeah.
So like, I wasn't mad about it. I saw it in 3D. It was like 3D. It was very well done.
I don't watch 3D. I will not watch 3D. I don't like the 3D. Oh, you can't.
Yeah, it fucks it up.
4 eyes.
Yeah, I know.
Easy Poindexter. Alex just laughed at that. I think that I can't wait. I heard the new Avengers are going to be 3 hours long.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna tell you something. After the first one, I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either.
Give me a Dances with Wolves Avengers. I don't care. I will sit there the whole time
during Infinity War. I fell asleep.
The Avengers is it's like the Godfather saga, but for comic book heroes. I love it. You fell asleep with one with
Infinity War.
Did you really?
Yeah.
But it's great though. I like it. I'll watch them go back and forth all day. I'll immerse myself in it.
Not part of the conversation, but I did watch Umbrella Academy, which I really enjoyed.
Oh, yeah. Greg Rogel, who's a very funny comic, told me that he watched a few episodes and then kind of got tired of it.
It starts very slow, and then by the end, you're going, fuck yeah, I'm all in. I almost abandoned it. And I stuck with it just because I needed closure. And it ramps up in like the last 4 episodes where you're going, yeah.
That's always a great thing to hear. Hey, just you got to give this a good 6 hours before you...
Yeah, I agree, man. I was texting Greg Stone, who's the guy from My Chemical Romance, who Greg, a former guest of the podcast, actually grew up with. Wrote it.
It was the singer?
I don't know. He's one of the band members.
He wrote Umbrella Academy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that cover makes so much more sense.
And I was texting Greg this. I go, the acting is kind of corny. It's very tropey. He's going, fuck you, just watch it.
How emo is it? If the Michael McCormick...
It's a little emo.
Like, when I was a young boy,
there is a great soundtrack, and it really gets good.
Movie. Hey! I just picture like they show, welcome to the Umbrella Academy. When I was a young boy.
Dude, it gets dark.
They have a dance, and then a band that should not play a dance comes out.
They have a marching band all dressed in black. Is there any teardrop tattoos in it? No, I'm just kidding.
Does it have a 1940s theme out of nowhere?
I heard that it's good. I heard that it's good.
It's good. It sets up a season 2 really well, and you just go, all right, I bought in.
Let's get to the
meat and potatoes.
Part of the podcast. The battle. Today we got a good one, I think. I don't know if anybody... When we picked it, I was like, I thought it was a great idea, because me and Justin decided what it was going to be. And I was like, is people going to be like, that makes no sense? And no, I think it makes a lot of sense.
This is a gridiron great.
Well, it feels like a classic versus like a newer...
Yeah.
It's like an edgier one almost.
You think so?
I think so, 100%.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
Like if I was going to go to church, everybody at church is going to see one movie and not the other.
That's true. So what Justin's talking about, we're gonna pit two great sports movies up against each other today. Well, it's
already started. Fucking already started.
I told Andy he's point on this because he has some opinions. We're putting Any Given Sunday, the Oliver Stone film, versus Rudy.
Yes, sir.
So the Sean Astin sports adventure, Rudy, pre-Lord of the Rings.
Pre-Lord.
when Sean Astin was like, Sean Astin was like a teen.
He was stuck. Like after Goonies, but before Lord of the... Yeah.
What would he do? Toy Soldiers, too?
Yeah,
what was that?
Toy Soldiers.
Was a good movie.
So great. And he was in that part of his life. Like, it was like that.
Yeah.
It's like that thing where he
puberty of his career.
Yeah. He was like in his Haley Joel Osment part of like where Haley...
Yeah.
Like, these guys that just like change shape, you know? Like, everybody, when you get to 20, I feel like you just change... Your body just changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I got fatter when I was 20 or 18. And I was a skinny kid in high school.
We just kept going.
I just kept going. Yeah, you just kept going.
I just kept going.
But anyway, I think it's a good matchup. I'm not gonna step out because I like one of them better. But Justin wants to defend Any Given Sunday. I'm dying to see how.
Yeah.
What would be? You want to start because you have the harder job.
Well, no. I mean, I feel like you know. You should,
No.
Oh, are you going to make the guest go first?
Yeah. You're on our field.
I don't know. I think the one thing that people underestimate about it is especially somebody that played football for a long time.
Did you play in college?
No, I didn't play in college, but I played in high school.
school.
But also,
you were defensive.
Offensive. I was a center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the other thing that experience that I have is my uncle is a college football coach.
Yeah, this makes your argument come into light a whole lot more.
He can say whatever he wants, Andy.
I know he can.
Okay.
We can counterpoint it.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead. You want to counterpoint it?
No. I'll get the filmmaking in a little bit.
He's like, also...
Who directed Rudy again? That's what I thought.
he goes, he gets to the point, he's like, my great-great-great-great-grandmother used to kill pigs for football, to make football. Like, he says, this is the whole lineage of football.
Well, I mean...
My great-uncle Cletus developed cleats.
That's where it comes from. So the one thing about, especially like being, because I've been on the field a bunch, especially at the highest level, and when you're watching on TV, even if you're watching in the stands, you don't understand the pure chaos that is going on when you're on the field. Like, just even getting... There are times you're like, how are there 12 guys on the field? The formations and shit that they have to send in, the confusion.
Yeah.
All this thing. And the best part about the movie is it starts with... It's at 70. It literally, you start... the movie starts and you're in the middle of the game and the first string quarterback gets hurt. And then they pull him out, and then the next guy goes in, and he gets hurt. And now you're down to your third string guy. You're in the middle of the thing. You're all this stuff is going on.
They did a good job of conveying the pandemonium.
But also, like, the idea that when the first string quarterback gets hurt, you see Cameron Diaz, who's the owner, in the box. She's already on the phone finding out who like the free agents are, who's available. She's thinking about firing people. Like the guy's still on the first string guy. Dennis Quaid is on the field, still like doubled over, and she's on the phone. The coaches are trying to figure out what's going on. The players are on the field. They're making fun of him for being on. Like there's all these things, and the way it's shot, just from the start like that, just to throw you into chaos. And then it goes to halftime where it's like people are getting worked on. There's an offensive lineman, he has to shit, but he has to get IVs because he's dehydrated and shit. And they've got to go, just the chaos that it throws you into immediately is so much better than any other football movie that's ever been made. Everything. The only thing that's ever come close football-wise that has nailed what being around major sports is the TV show Playmakers. That's the only thing that's close. But this movie is dead on, especially all the cuts, all the scenes that it's shot. It drives some people crazy that when they do it looks like it's 3D, but you don't have the glasses. I know what you mean. I guarantee that's one of the things you hate about it more than anything. But that's just what it feels like, because if you ever hear interviews with return guys, especially guys like Dante Hall or guys that are really fast, there's this whole idea in the booth when they talk about how, oh, look at him strategically set up this block, and then he sets up this block, and then he makes this move to set up this block, and then you get an interview with those guys and they're being honest. They just go, yeah, I'm just dodging blurs. This is I see a blue blur and I just try to get away from it.
And do they do that though, or don't they? I feel like when I see football interviews, they try to explain it in a bullshit, not a bullshit way, but
because that's what they're trained to do.
Okay, yeah.
Because if you do things like I'm just dodging blurs, then you seem uneducated.
Right. Okay. I see.
And that's something that they're trained not to do.
But in the actual game, it's just a matter of surviving.
Oh yeah, it's just you're just everything is just about going.
So even if you're the quarterback, I know you didn't play quarterback, but even the quarterback, same thing. The quarterback. He brings up a good first point, because it's one of those things where
about football,
yeah. But we don't know.
Well, I don't know if you know this. The movie is about football.
Yeah, so we're talking about movies, not the actual game.
But he's saying it's doing. If you want, we're talking about football movies. He's saying it does a great job of painting.
It Oliver Stones it up very well. It's an Oliver Stone movie from the get-go. I give you that, and it's very real. It's surrounded by football history.
Right.
I mean, there's Lawrence Taylor,
Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim Brown, Wyatt Tittle's in there.
Right. Dick Butkus.
Yeah, Dick Butkus is in there. I'll give you, they had great consultants. I hate the way it's shot and jump cutty and all that stuff. But that I will relent to you that it captures the speed of football, because I do think football, when you watch it on TV, maybe the only sport, the range of how far away you watching it on TV from the actual speed of the game is, maybe ice hockey is the only one where it looks like it's that much slower in terms of what the actual game speed is.
Yeah.
So I'll give you, it does that very realistically. But other than that, I mean, I'm not watching the movie just for that. So it doesn't get by on just, it's great football scenes a lot. It's like you don't watch Rocky just because it's great boxing scenes. You know what I mean?
But those boxing scenes are really great.
Yeah, I mean, we can debate the scenes in Rocky. There's a few.
Listen.
There's a few Sonny Corleone punches in there where they're clearly
75 haymakers in one fight.
But you know what I mean. You know, my point is your opening point is it's great. I can
also rebuke yours, but I want to hear your.
Okay. I'm saying yes, but I'm still watching for the meat and potatoes, as we say, of the movie, of the story, of the character development, of the arc.
Movie.
Right. Correct.
But you need that's the thing. You need elements of it. You always need elements of the sport in the movie, and shot well and done well. And honestly, it can create some of the best drama ever in movies as far as sports can go, because there's so much stakes involved and stuff like that. And it's how they convey it. Here's one thing I noticed that I disagree with you already. You said Oliver Stone, you're like, who directed Rudy? I'm like, I forget who directed Rudy. We can look it up. Can
it's
you look
David
it up, Alex?
Asbra or something like that.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of movies. He's done a bunch of movies.
Another classic in there as well, Hoosiers.
Yeah. So he's got a good sports director there.
Yeah.
Oliver Stone, like, the jury's out on Oliver Stone. Like,
Yeah,
to be
come
honest,
on.
he's fucked up a lot of shit.
He's fucked up a lot of shit. He's a bit of an overrated filmmaker, if you ask me.
He's a little
Personal
overrated.
opinion.
Are you a huge Oliver Stone fan?
I
You know what he did?
50-50.
Natural Born Killers. You heard about Natural Born Killers?
no.
Natural Born Killers was a script. Tarantino, and I think it was broken up beforehand. I don't know all the details, but from what I've heard, Natural Born Killers, Tarantino wrote it. That and True Romance was one big script. True Romance, the people from Natural Born Killers was their alter egos in this big giant script.
Gotcha.
But I think at some point they got into two movies. But then he took Natural Born Killers and he took Tarantino's script and just cut the shit out of it. And
It's a fucking cartoon.
it's a cartoon, yeah. So that's
I don't love We'll Go to the Mat for any Oliver Stone movie. We can go up and down the list. The Doors, Platoon, fucking Any Given Sunday. JFK. Even don't love it. Don't love it.
JFK, I like as a movie, but I was really into it. But JFK, as somebody who was into the topic, when the movie came out,
Newman.
there's tons of bullshit in the movie. There's tons of...
And that's classic Stone. He's a bullshitter.
Yeah,
and he's a conspiracy nut, too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can see how shit gets away from him. But, like, yeah. That's...
So when it comes to Oliver Stone, like, he's a famous director, but, like, I don't know. Hoosiers, I thought was Hoosiers is one of my favorite sports movies as well. Like, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely,
it's got a great cast. So, and also it depends on.
They both have a good cast.
Two types of directing there. You're literally talking about fast and slow. You got fast and slow going on both sides. So when it comes to Oliver Stone, when you said that, I was like, it's not necessarily a plus with Oliver Stone because I'm not. Over time, I think back in the day, I was like, Oliver Stone's badass. But it's almost because you're told that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I used to appreciate those movies a lot more when I was a kid. I loved The Doors because I loved The Doors.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily I loved the Oliver Stone way the movie was made. Now I go back and watch, I go, what a piece of garbage this is.
Yeah, he was very, the feel of Oliver Stone movies have a very 90s feel to them.
Right.
And this movie came out what year?
99.
99.
Yeah.
So even the Doors, like, you watch, Oliver Stone makes movies that, like, the filming of them doesn't live up to, like, doesn't catch up. Because you watch The Doors now, you're like, this is old. Like, not because it just took place back then, but because how it's made looks old. Like, the shots that he did, they're not, if you watch it, you're thrown off. If you watch on, like, they don't go from film to TV very well. They're not consistent.
And the other thing, you do have a hard, at least for me, it's like, if this is the highest level of football, and I know, like, the NFL denied them the rights to have it, it slightly takes away from me when it's like,
well, the NFL,
Miami Sharks. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, though. The NFL has been trying to, because the one thing they talk about, especially in the scene where he goes and has dinner at his house, at Al Pacino's house, where he talks about how what it's like to be an athlete, especially a black athlete, because there are things that we're just now getting to.
Yeah.
Where he's the NFL's been trying to keep a lid on the because, like, the NFL has a farm club that they don't have to pay for. It's called the NCAA. Like, they literally get to pick their studs for free, while baseball and basketball, they all have to have D leagues and all these other. They don't have to do that.
Football does,
and they want to keep that as quiet as possible because they don't want anybody get. That's why they don't draft troublemakers. And there's a whole scene dedicated to talking about this, about how you have these, like, he talks about why he drops in the draft. Because he went to some guy's wedding he didn't know and somebody gave him a suit. So he drops in the draft because he's a troublemaker, or he takes money, or he gets suspended. And so he goes from being a first-round guy to an eighth-round guy, and then he goes to another team where they's like, oh, he's got quick feet. He'll be a cornerback. That shit happens all the time. All the time.
So you're saying it's true to life.
Well, I mean, like, there's so many like valid things in there that people just kind of brush over because they don't like the way the shot. I'm not trying to listen.
No,
I'm not just saying you,
but
there's a lot of things about it that are so like.
Yeah,
I mean,
say, okay, so this hits the nail on the head of modern day NFL.
Well, I mean, and this is the point about the not having the team rights. The same thing happened to playmakers because the playmakers talked about concussions, gay people in sports. Players die.
I see what you're saying. I get the point. The point you're making is that it's on the head and fucking.
And the NFL doesn't want any part of it. They literally told playmakers that series was like a hit.
Yeah.
And they told them, like, if you make season 2, we're going to pull every licensing thing from you that we have. And so, like, this is a time when they were trying to get everybody away from, it's like, oh, the NFL's positive and look at how good, a example our players are and all this stuff. And now it's coming to light. It's like, oh, and like, that's not what the NFL is.
Right.
They're not those guys.
So it's ahead of its time. It was,
Right.
It was nailing the situation. But as far as the movie itself goes, I see what you're saying. Like,
yeah, and again, for me, accuracy of real life doesn't necessarily make a great movie for me. You know what I mean? Like, here's what, and I'll just say.
I'm sorry. I feel
no, not at all. This is what we do.
But really quick, to defend your point, you're right about all that. That's all on the head. But he's right but at the same time, they're like, look how well they have the temperature of the industry. But at the same time, you're being taken out of it because they named Miami Sharks and like the name of the teams. They couldn't even get the NFL team name, which is the right thing. But that still takes you out of it.
And the point we're losing in all this is Rudy is a true story. So, if you're going on accuracy, this actually happened. You don't have to reflect anything because for the most part there was the desk dropping, the jersey desk dropping that actually never happened. I found out later,
which might be the best scene in the movie,
which is a great scene. But Joe Montana was actually on the Rudiger team, which not a lot of people know.
Doesn't Joe Montana call him out all the time and say,
no,
it wasn't like that?
I think they some of the dramatic things like the jersey thing.
The jersey thing. And then
I think the one thing that when Parsegian, classic Notre Dame coach, retired, the promise that he made to Rudy was that he would have dressed for the last home game of senior year. And then the new guy came in, Dan Devine, I think. That whole big thing at the end was I think in real life, he was like, yeah, I'll let you get in. It wasn't, right. But the way it happened. And
the two biggest dramatic parts of the movie. But I see what you're saying. But it's still, but there you go. That's movies. They created the drama.
But I feel like it's a true underdog story of all underdog stories. Maybe the greatest underdog story.
That's inspirational.
It's inspirational.
Can we agree
that the steel mill town going back and triumphing over personal goals?
Ned Beatty maybe doing the best thing he's done besides Deliverance.
Exactly. Inspirational, overcome. I think that always gets lost on me every time.
You just described Green Book, by the way. I just want you to know.
Do you remember how he comes home and it's just like his fiance? She's like, yeah, she's with your brother now. Do you remember that?
Yes! You go, what the fuck? I'll tell you that. That is one of the weirdest. Did that happen back in the 60s?
I think that was
they were listening to records of football halftime speeches. I'm sure there was not much to do other than bang your brother's girlfriend.
Well, it's so funny because all right, so for those of you who don't know, in this scene, Rudy goes for his first year at the junior college.
Holy Cross,
he goes to Holy Cross for a year. He comes back over the holidays for the first time, and the girl he was dating is just dating his brother now. And it was, and
they're all at their family.
They're all at
holiday
the house.
Party.
They're at the house, nothing's wrong. He shows up,
which is such great Irish Catholic reflection, by the way. It's perfect.
Jesus. But the point of it is, they look at him like he's crazy. They're like, what, are you going to leave?
They're like, you went to college, stupid.
That's what you get for learning, dummy. But it's true. And then he gets out of there and he goes back to college. He sleeps in the
gets a tutor,
the boiler room and all that.
Yeah.
But you're right. I always wondered about that, where it's why weren't they yeah, actually, you know what? Your brother's kind of an asshole for doing that. His dad should have been on his side for that.
All right, and so I'll do you one better. As far as inspirational speeches go, we all know Coach Tony D'Amato, whatever Pacino's name is. It's a good speech, but it's not anything like fucking fortune speech.
Yeah, I gotta tell you what's so funny about those speeches is, and this is another thing that they do well, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but every speech that he makes, especially in the opening scene, it's like he's just looking around okay, what do I I have no idea. It's like he's lost control of everything.
I don't know if they did that intentionally because he was getting toward the end of his career. I don't know if that was done on purpose because the whole time it's like he's going to retire. He's the greatest coach in AAA, whatever. Right. And then
he's really upset about not getting that license.
But he does just kind of Pacino it. It's just like it's a son of a woman speech.
That's kind of the thing. You can bring it up like that. You have Pacino, one of the biggest movie stars in the world, and it was at prime over the top Pacino time. Right. I think even now he's still kind of is doing that. I guess.
Oh my God!
Does it more than ever now.
God! I just realized why you guys don't like this movie.
Why?
Jamie Foxx is in it. I've just realized that's what it is. You guys hate Jamie Foxx, and I just realized it. I caught you guys. I just realized.
It's not really
I used
not
to like
Stephen
Jamie
Willie
Foxx.
Beeman.
I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan of Jamie. He does get annoying.
I liked
Jamie
Wanda on In Living Color. I think that was the name. I couldn't tell you a random snippet of his speech, but I could absolutely go to you're 5'0", you're 100 nothing,
Yeah.
and everybody could tell you where that was from.
It's from Rudy.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's Charles Dutton doing it.
Fortune, yeah, it's a great name.
Is that his name in it? Fortune?
Yeah, Fortune.
Yeah, that's a great character. And then you find out that he played on the
He
team.
once played, and then
Yeah.
he's never seen a game though, and then he eventually watches. I mean, the final scene.
There's
If you're
so
not
many-
fucking crying,
yes.
dude,
Oh my god.
ugh.
And then you have like pre-swingers, Favreau
Pre-swingers, Vince Vaughn.
and Vince
And
Vaughn.
Favreau.
And then you have one of the cheesiest lines ever that Favreau says at the end when he's playing and he's running and he goes, "Yeah, who's the wild man now?" That might be one of the corniest moments ever. But you don't get. And also, Vince Vaughn has a cheesy line too. He's like, "He's just a hot shot, man." What does he say when in the parking lot? What does he? Do you remember what he says? When, like,
I don't know.
he
This
gives
is not the movie I'm defending.
He bullies him, and then he just goes, "Don't worry about him, man. He's just a hot shot. He's a hot shot." Like he said, calls him something. I'm like, "Oh, this is corny."
You might as well just call him Scooter.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, those guys in it, which is like a good little thing after it.
And then carried off the field, man.
Carried out the field.
Not happened since
also,
I
like,
believe 1990.
I'll tell you, I watched Rudy, and
2005.
I never played football. I used to play like tag, touch them,
Right.
two-hand touch with my friends and stuff like that. But I never played touch them football. That's Catholic football, and that's real Notre Dame football. And no, but I remember watching Rudy and being like, I wish I went to Notre Dame. Like, it makes you like. Also, I think if you're Irish, there's something there. Like, you're Irish. There's something there with Rudy. If you're Irish,
Not like you.
I'm actually not. I'm Irish, but like, I watched it and I was like, oh, I really wish I was part of this. Don't you? Doesn't it have that?
Well, now I'm going to separate real life from defending your movies. I actually, as a college football fan, hate Notre Dame because of the rah-rah Notre Dame-ishness of it.
Yeah.
I love the fucking movie.
Now we're back in.
But I can separate. I love the fucking movie, but in real life, that true to
Well, also, now in the way that college football works, he would never been able to do it because he literally, who can afford to be a walk-on for 4 years just to go on? Who can afford 4 years of tuition?
Well, no, he was on academic scholarship.
Was he?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because also, he wasn't walk-on for 4 years. He only had 1 year left of eligibility. He was in junior college for 3.
Oh, that's right.
Was
Okay.
it 3 or 2?
Yeah. Because it was like you have 1 year of eligibility left. Because he gets rejected like 3 times, and then he is very poor. He lives in the field house, works for free just for room. Where Fortune eventually finds out, lets him stay there, gives him a key and all that. Great scene.
All right, let's do this. We have to wrap up pretty soon. So let's get our final arguments. I think to defend Rudy, when it comes to Rudy, you want to talk about it's inspirational, it's classic. I think you ask, I know you're a football guy because you played it,
right.
And I actually appreciate the fact I didn't think of the whole angle you started off with when it goes, hey, if you're on the field and you want to know what it feels like to be on the field, you watch Any Given Sunday. That's actually a really major point. Like, obviously, Rudy doesn't do that because you're watching as a fan. They don't have like the inside baseball type shots in Rudy.
No, I'd
really.
say practice is the
practice is but not. That's when the cut shot works the best, when it's trying to give you an idea. Oh my God, look how crazy this is, So, but I think when it comes to Rudy, I think if you ask most football people, I think they would go with Rudy. I think just because it's like, I think
you feel sports in general.
You feel better.
Yeah,
you feel better after watching Rudy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about Any Given Sunday is the fact that it also captures what it feels like to be in a season where you go because the last game of the year they win, and then you find out when the credits are rolling that they lost the next week's game by 30 points, and that's what it every week is like this monumental thing where it's like when it's do or die. So it's like this amazing thing.
The major league angle.
Well, they both have, but then they both have that because he literally that was one play that he played in. But that
played
was,
in two. Played in two.
That's right.
Played in two on the kickoff.
But I mean, like that's what he was shooting for, just to be in the game at all. And that's one game, two plays. So it's even more of a microcosm of like how important a moment can be. You know, what I mean?
Rudy is the game of life. It's the journey from the first quarter to the last.
But honestly, I think people probably. I guess it came out. It already came out when I was already.
I think it was 93, 94.
So I was already like 15 or whatever. But like people a little bit younger than me, I like. I don't know how old you are, but
32.
Okay, so for people your age, I feel like it probably inspired them to play football.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I mean, like here's the thing. I don't want to make this sound like I think Rudy is a piece of shit.
No,
this happens every time.
I mean, it is, but I don't want to. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, it was. I actually have a helmet signed by Rudy Rudiger.
You do?
So I do. I own one.
Oh, there we go.
So,
we win. There you go. That's what it is.
Well, it's because but I also have a jersey of Willie Beeman's. So I guess it's not real.
So if you had your closing arguments as far as Any Given Sunday goes, what would you say is just encapsulated?
I think it captures every aspect of what major college and pro sports is. I think it's shot better as far as like because there's no scene in Rudy where I'm sitting there like. Cinematically, it's a great shot.
There's nothing. No, I don't agree with that.
I think it's all feel good. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I'm not looking at Rudy for the cinematography. I'll give you that, maybe. But again,
I think I'll go for Rudy for the overall look. The guy, he has a style. Hoosiers and Rudy have. It's funny. It's actually, you could describe it as drabness, but it kind of conveys a mood. It conveys a depressive, like, he comes from a depressed town. His father's depressed. The coloring the guy uses.
They're in Indiana. I got it.
1960s.
Right?
It said they're in Indiana. Yeah, I got it.
1960s, though. It's not supposed to be, this flashy kind of.
Right, but he nails it. Like, he does a good job. Like, it looks authentic.
I agree.
So it's not cinematography-wise. There's probably a couple scenes I'd be like, "That's a beautiful shot." But
here's the thing: is somebody that makes sports movies, they're really lazy with the way they shoot things. Like every guy that like makes a bunch of sports movies, they're real fucking lazy when it comes to. That's why I like watching sports movies when people outside of sports do it. Like I can't wait for Adam McKay to make a sports movie. I really can't. Even though I know Talladega Nights technically is like a thing, but like the idea of having a guy outside of the world looking in on it, I think is so much better because it's like seeing it with a fresh set of eyes.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. I don't know who won this. I think that I think Rudy wins because
Rudy is in the pantheon of maybe top 5 sports movies of all time. Forget football.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking sports, inspirational.
You got the new academy over here. It's perfect.
He's got a chant where you could just start at any place in the world almost.
Oh yeah, a guy with 3 teeth just starts a chant.
Rudy.
And people do it.
You know what else? You know what else does it just like that? Quack.
Yeah,
quack.
Well, I would have fucking defended Mighty Ducks against Any Given movie.
Thanks for doing this, man.
This is so much fun, man, dude.
You're great.
This is great.
We appreciate you listening to the podcast. We appreciate you and coming on and being a funny dude. What would you like to plug?
Just my Instagram, Justin Smith Comedy.
Justin Smith Comedy?
I got a bunch of things. I got a bunch of projects coming up really soon. So,
do you have road stuff you want to talk about or no?
Yeah, I mean I do, but I like just follow my Instagram.
Okay,
it'll all be there.
About it.
Yeah,
okay, cool. And Andy?
You can always follow me on all social media at Andy Fiori, ANDYFIORI. And go to the website, andyfiori.com. I know I got some road dates coming up. March 30th, Laugh It Up in Poughkeepsie, New York. That'll be fun. I'm in the city this weekend, so if you're around, come holler. We'll talk movies.
Cool. And when this comes out, that night I'll be at New York Comedy Club. In a couple weeks, I'm at Go Bananas in Cincinnati, Ohio. So come check that out if you're in the area. I'll mention it again before it comes up. And we are at Showbiz Studios. That's showbizstudios.com with the very elegant Alex Brazell. You can check out their YouTube page. Also, they have an iTunes page which shows you all the amazing podcasts that Showbiz has to offer. A lot of the people who run shows in this network are our friends, and they're hilarious, and you should check out all of them. That's showbizstudios.com. Also, defendyourmovie@gmail.com.
Yes.
Email us. Let us know what matchups you want. We've already done, I think, 1 or 2 from the suggestions.
Yeah, we need a new fan one. It's about time for a fan suggestion.
Fan ones. And then Defenders at Defend Your Movie on Twitter. So tweet at us as well. And we thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.